In a world where we sometimes see a gap between what people say and what they do, how do we become the kind of people whose actions match our beliefs? We need an inner moral compass, the one that guides us towards choices aligned with our highest ideals, whether anyone's watching or not. And so how can we step into that place where we have integrity with ourselves? Tonight's conversation is part of our series, Grace Under Fire, and the topic is Embodied Values, Living What We Believe. Join us to find out more.
Soul Nectar Show, the Soul Nectar Show. You're invited, delighted to discover who you are. Anything is possible if you believe. So join us on this beautiful journey. Soul Nectar Show, Soul Nectar Show, Soul Nectar Show.
Okay, so welcome to the Grace Under Fire series. And tonight's topic, February 13th, tonight's topic is Embodied Values, Living What We Believe. Living what we believe. I'm going to stop share. And we're so excited to be doing this series and getting so much great feedback from it, from people who are watching. I am Kerri Hummingbird. I am the host of Soul Nectar Show, and I am a medicine woman and a messenger and the author of several #1 international best-selling books, including The Second Wave, Transcending the Human Drama, which explains a lot about what's happening right now in our collective. It was published in 2019. And also, Inner Medicine, Becoming One with Mother Earth for the Survival of Humanity. And yeah, so really great books. And Akeem and I, my husband, my partner, we facilitate the inner medicine community. And so in inner medicine community, we focus on indigenous teachings and ancient wisdom to support us in living a good life in modern times. And Akeem, you want to introduce yourself? Say a few words about yourself.
Hi, everyone. I am Akeem Sami, and I'm a lifetime martial artist. I am a healing facilitator of multiple responsibilities, should I say. Co-facilitator with Kerri, also on this call, my wife. Good to see you all. Thank you for joining in. I'm really excited to get into what we're looking at today because this is really big with the times that we're in, and even when we began to prepare for this talk for tonight, how timely this is. This is right on time. I'm a studier of Martin Luther King, and I've ramped up my studies these days with Martin Luther King. I'd known some things. I've been on 30 plus marches, but there's some things that tend to also really come up in the words that he's saying that feel also very applicable to what we're talking about, not just today, but in general with the times that we're in and how difficult things are for a lot of people, actually. And even those that are supposedly receiving the benefit of it, of this time that we're in, it's still pushing them to new levels as well, a new opportunity to be more, present, to be more in love, to not be into a place of taking, but more so sharing and giving. It's a oneness that we have an opportunity here to do together. So thank each of you for being here and bringing your energetic essence into the space so we could help to amplify that message with the world.
Yes, thank you, everyone who watches this whenever you watch it. I know some of you like to watch it back because you've got schedules, but thank you for watching it and for also letting us know what you thought. We love comments, we love feedback. So you can hit reply if you receive this on email, and you can let us know what you think. If you're in the chat and you're live, you can tell us, right here, right now. Contribute your thoughts. We want to hear from you. And, we started this series because we know that 2026 is going to have a very fiery, intense energy, and it's going to bring about some expansion of inner freedom, and it's going to bring about some collective healing. It's going to influence that because of the discomfort it's going to raise up. People are going to choose to do some healing work. And we want to work with this fiery energy with a grounded, intentional approach towards intentional transformation, which is such a powerful space to be in when we're working with fiery, intense energies. And so in this series, we've already discussed how to be love in action in the midst of fiery reactivity. And in this talk, we're going to be focusing on how to move beyond spiritual rhetoric to an actual embodiment of our values, where we are living what we believe. And we also are going to have a couple more talks, and one of them is about sharing sacred tools for doing the transformational work of 2026, and also in moving into a vision of your purpose in the final talk, a vision of your purpose with daily intentional practice. And so this, as I said, is the third talk of the series, and the topic is embodied values, living what we believe. And, so we were talking about how we wanted to address this, and we realized that there's really like three main aspects to embodying values and living what you believe. And we're going to talk about each one of them in turn, but just as an overview as to what they are, and then we're going to go more into depth. But the first thing is to be in agreement within, like you have to have an inner moral compass that you know what those values are. The second thing is you've got to be in your body enough to notice your body's clues as to whether you're aligned with that inner compass or not. And then the third thing is if you discover that you're not aligned with your inner compass, well, that's when you've got to make some change to get back into alignment. So we're going to talk about those three basic points, plus some other ideas we had. And so the first point is that you've got to have an inner moral compass. And it's the inner moral compass is self-referencing. It's not about an outer authority telling you what to believe or telling you what your values are or telling you how to act or how to speak or what to do. It's not about an outer authority. It's about your own inner moral compass that directs you, that helps you self-reference as to what your values are, what matters to you, and, what you're going to spend your beautiful life force creating in the world through your actions and your words. Yes.
And, given the level of conditioning, or what I've heard it say in human design, the originator, Ra'uluhu, had a statement. He said there's a not self side to all of us. And that not self shows up when the world itself at large energetically opposes or redirects what is coming out of us. It's becoming our place where we forgot who we were. So the higher the level of conditioning, the harder it is to even get into that space, to even know what is actually true and what's not. How would you know any different? And some people would say, you may have been conditioned from the age of 3, something that's not normal, but you think it's normal. So it's also the process of uncovering what the real truth is. So knowing what the agreement is, part of it is knowing what really is you. So this is a big one because you have to do the digging. And, I'm gonna out even us guys here for men, for any of you that have men in your life. I'm gonna say something real true and straight up. And this is real important. You could share this with other men, this conversation. One of the biggest things that I've noticed in a masculine body is that there's a sensation that if it's not broke, don't try to fix it. Or if it's not broke enough, there's no need to jump in and do any deeper work. Just kind of keep things steady and hunky-dory. While that exists, you'll never get to the place of really being curious with who you really are. So notice I said the word curious, being able to be curious and see what is actually you. What do you conditioned to do or believe or act or feel even. So, it's also said that the stimuli that you have in your emotions are all conditioning. It's conditioned that this feeling, which could be searing pain, is good. There's also there's a person by the name of Gay Hendricks. He spoke about this in this book called The Big Leap. And in The Big Leap, he speaks about when you are getting to a certain area that's outside of your comfort level, think of it as like a thermostat. Your body is set to a form of homeostasis. So your mind, as well as your body, has this setting. And this setting is a consistent thermostat level. Just think of it that way. And the moment that you go above that threshold, the system kicks in to bring you back into homeostasis. So you can even see, if it's not broke, don't fix it. You can see where that comes from. And you can also look at the shadow of what happens when you don't adjust your thermostat. Your thermostat needs input. And if you start from a place of understanding that, not that you're flawed in any sort of way, because this is what we believe here in medicine to be the journey toward your truth, toward who you actually are, what's really you, rather than things that you agreed to in the past. Who are you really? What are you really here to do? Right, Kerri?
Yeah. And, just to make this really concrete, it's kind of like when you say that you stand for justice, but then you're all about corruption and protecting people who actually are, being predators on other people, and you're kind of called out for doing that. That's you in the opposite of what you say you stand for. Like you say that your core value is justice, but then you're actually working an antithesis to it. And that's when you kind of, you've really strayed, right? Like you're not actually aligned to what you say is important to you. The same thing with your core values. Like if you say that children are really important to you and children should always be protected, like all the time, like we should always care for children, but then somehow you support a policy where children are actually mistreated or, taken out of schools and put in detention centers, then there's something, you're not really operating in alignment with your core value. And that is going to start making you feel bad in your body. It's literally going to make you feel bad when you have a core value and you know what it is, and then you catch yourself not really actually living fully up to that core value. And it's easy to do because why? Because we have conditioning. So we have this conditioning that comes in and teaches us, well, this is the rule and this is how to think about, and it's from the outside usually. So it's like, this is the rule and this is how to think about this, and here's how to think about this, and here's how to think about that. And there's this whole rule book that you inherited, each of us inherited from our ancestors and from our society and from all of our schooling and all these places, and then life experiences. And so we have this giant rule book, except the rules conflict each other. They don't match. So when that happens, we find ourselves like having a core value that we say we stand for, that's really important to us. And when that core value is being tested with people we really love, we find ourselves being able to uphold it. But when it's happening with people that we don't know, we find ourselves being able to pretend like that doesn't matter, or look the other way, avert our eyes, not look at what's happening, or pretend, or numb out, or dehumanize in order to allow conflicting application of our values to exist at the same time. But that dissonance is going to eventually show up in your body. So it's the first talking point really is all about making sure you know what your core values are. from the inside, your inner moral compass. Like, what is it that you would never personally do? What is it that you care about for people you love? What is like, how do you want others to treat you? How would you treat them? You know, these are basic teachings of any spiritual tradition. And so we have to know what that set of core values is. And one way to find out what the core values are that you have, if you're not so sure what your personal core values are, is that when you get really angry at something, like something happens and you get outraged over it, the reason you're outraged is because your core values are being violated externally towards you or towards somebody else or something you witness. And so you can actually become aware, I'm outraged about this thing. And then you can turn the other way to it and see what's the opposite of that. And you might find the opposite of that is your core value. So for example, like I could be very outraged over what's happening, what's being revealed in the collective about how girls and children have been treated by the wealthy elite. Like I could be really angry about that, very outraged. And as I turn that around to see like what's my core value, well, my core value is body sovereignty and respect for all of life. Like I believe that every person has body sovereignty, and I believe that every person has a right to live their life as they choose, and that every person deserves respect. These are some of my core values. And so anytime there's been many things over the last 10 years or so that have come up collectively that I've gotten very outraged over, and it's always coming back to the same core value that I have that's been trampled upon, which is that what I just said, you know, people need to be treated with respect. We need to, you know, honor people's body sovereignty and honor their choices. And so whenever things happen that conflict with that, I tend to get activated and upset. And so that's because my body's letting me know that, to the point too, my body's letting me know something's wrong. Something's out of alignment. This should not be so. And fire, you know, house is on fire. And my defense system kicks in and goes, I'm, you know, and the finger points, you shouldn't do that. And I like want to lecture. And so these are things that I've got to like work with myself on, and I do, but I want to use my voice and I want to speak to that outrage when it comes up. And then also know that it's just my body letting me know, hey, your core value about body sovereignty is being disrespected right now. Your core value about respect for all life is being disrespected right now. And when that happens, I can come back into my core value instead of staying with the outrage. I can feel it. We have to feel it. Totally don't do a bypass. But then we don't actually have to go down to the bottom with it. We can feel it to heal it, turn around to our core values, and then start putting the energy towards that. It's like, what's most important? And then I have a podcast, gives me a space to speak to the things that are important to me. And I can channel that energy from the outrage into speaking towards what I do value and what I do want. And I'm always reminded of Mother Teresa, who said that she was never against anything. She was only ever for what she was for, not against, but for what she's for. And keep putting the energy towards, you know, what you're for. And so, yeah, I just kind of went on a, whew. So what do you feel with all that, Akeem? What I just shared,
Well,
and in the chat,
and
share with us.
yeah, and that also brings up for me and my studies also about MLK, Martin Luther King Jr. He calls it living with the but. And basically, he's speaking to the history of the administration of the United States in that speak, the United States values from the beginning. It's liberty and justice for all, but we have to build our wealth somehow, and someone has to be willing to do it for free. And then the cognitive dissonance of normalizing that this is out of alignment, this but is out of alignment with the higher balance, with meeting the higher balance. So one thing will cut off at the other. And there's a point where you might find yourself standing for something, but energetically and even in your body, there's nothing behind it. There's nothing underneath it. So it appears energetically as hollow. An example for something that I've noticed in relationship with people, it's when someone says no, but they don't do the work that it takes to back up their no with support of what happens when I say no to this. This is what cause and effect will happen next. You say no to this, well, this is likely going to happen. The person is going to want to talk about their needs, and you have to be willing to listen to them and talk through it with them and work through it. So you have to check with yourself, am I available to be to deal with the completeness of my no or my yes? Am I willing to back up my yes with preparation, action, willingness, and living with the but not doing any of the back work it takes to remove the but? The work to remove the but is what I understand this to be. When we live by but never do any work to merge the but into oneness, into I am is the power statement. So this is also a feeling that you can create to resonate within your body. The I am is the statement, and that is everything. Imagine being able to get to that place in the body, in the mind, and in the spirit, being I am, instead of I am this high ideal in spirit, but these are the things that's going on in my life that I'm putting up with, that I'm embracing, that aren't in alignment with the spirit value. So now I'm doing things with my body or my mind or my spirit that's not aligned. The three of them are incongruent. Some would imply that you might eventually get around to it, but that's also cognitive dissonance. And it's never too late to go for that oneness by doing that work, by seeing where your butts are and why is there a but here? And why is my no mean no? Why does my yes mean yes? And be able to stick to it.
I love what you just said. And yes, like when you are living according to your moral compass, the energy is very clean. You feel good in your body. You feel aligned with yourself. You can stay awake and aware because you're doing what you say. Like the inside voice is saying the same thing as the outside voice, and your actions are backing it up. And so when you're like that, it's real clear and easy. And actually, you have more energy, you have more vitality, you have more clarity, your eyes shine, like you feel good, in your body. Your health is usually pretty good. And you feel just like you got energy for stuff. You feel optimistic about life and you feel good. Doesn't mean you don't have to do difficult things or have difficult conversations. We're going to talk about that next. But it just means that you know what you stand for and you and your body are aligned with that. And you listen to your body when your body says, oops, that's not aligned.
Yeah.
Don't do that. And you pay attention when your stomach's churning or your throat is tight or your back is hurting or you want to dissociate. You're not in your body at all and you can't feel anything and you're just coming from your mind and you're just living from your neck up and not even aware of the rest of your body. You feel completely out of your body. You feel like you're floating outside. You're disassociated. You can't be present in your life with difficult situations or people, and you have to isolate. These are examples of when you're not actually living aligned with your truth. And maybe you feel like you have to hide your truth. Maybe you're living in a situation where the people around you have a very drastically different set of core values and you feel your safety is impacted if you revealed your core values, or you feel like you might get tempted by greed and decide to take a job that pays really good, but it's not aligned with a core value of yours. And so the whole time you're receiving that money, even though the money's nice, you're not really feeling so good about that job. And then some other area of your life, your body will start to fall apart. You'll start to have digestive issues or insomnia, or you'll have relationship troubles. You'll feel irritable. You won't even know why you're irritable because you're suppressing this information from yourself. You're keeping it away from yourself so you can keep taking the money, but you're actually like, I'm angry and I don't know why, and
Right.
I'm going to see a therapist, but so I'll just take something to cover that up too. I'll take some not feeling pills. And then people are on all these pharmaceuticals just to not face the fact that some of the choices that they've made are not in alignment with their core values.
Yes, and from a massage therapist and body healing facilitator, I have seen and witnessed and felt what it feels like in the person's body when they are doing things in their life that is out of alignment with balance. You begin to notice things that show up in the shoulder or the neck, right? Lower back. That's really common. And what begins to happen? Well, you could say that there's some things that you need to change, right? And it's understood you need to change something. And of course, noticing that it's there doesn't mean that, oh, you messed up. So now you've got to pay the price and suffer. Take it in a place that gives you space to grow. And that starts first with phrasing how you got into this, how you were convinced to do this. In the four agreements, which we speak a lot about in the inner medicine, it talks about domestication. So this is also something that we've mentioned back from the first share, the first piece of the share. It's when you are out of alignment and you realize that something is out of right relationship, the invitation is to know that something needs to change. Martin Luther King would say a sacrifice has to be made. And it doesn't have to be heavy like with your life sacrifice for most of this stuff that I'm noticing, but it can come down to making a change here. It can just be a change there. And it come to find out when it comes to matters of the body, it's not an instant, complete 180 change that's needed because your body can't keep up with that and gets overwhelmed. So do incremental changes. Give yourself the space, but know that the sacrifice has to be made and then do the work that it takes. That could mean, when you get up in the morning, drink, and this is something new I'm playing with as well with water consumption. Drink 2 glasses of water at the beginning of my day because, it's being found that the body is dehydrated all night and could use water. So a practical body something, because I know something needs to change. And I'm doing this before my body has to have a major responsibility, like, I'm suffering from dehydration now. I could actually do certain things to consume more water without guzzling water all at one time. It has to be incremental, just a little bit by little bit. Paco en Paco, as it's said in Espanol, just little bit by little bit, inch by inch is a cinch, is a statement that I've heard about that.
Yeah. And the thing is, the body's going to keep telling you if you're out of alignment. It's not going to stop telling you that. It's
Right.
just going to keep telling you and then compounding it until you're sick enough that you have to pay attention to it.
Oh, so well.
Which
And
is like,
yeah,
why get brick walls,
yeah.
But sometimes we do choose them. But really, it's like when you start to notice some of those symptoms, like maybe you're overeating, you're sitting in front of the TV and just like binge eating, and you're just like watching a lot of television, or you feel dissociated in your body, or you're just staying busy all the time. Like you leave no space to be quiet because you don't want to hear what the truth. You're just like, I'm going to stay busy. I'm not going to meditate. I can't do that right now. You just stay busy, 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 busy. And so these are some signs that you're not facing something. and
Mm,
and it might be, the thing is, you've got to slow down long enough to see what it is. And a lot of times when we don't want to make changes out of fear or just personal comfort, um, we can hide the truth from ourselves about what it is that's actually making us sick.
mhm.
So it can take a little while to get to the bottom of it if you're really resistant to change. And also, if you've got some like really big conditioning around making a mistake, like there's some people who've had some really thick conditioning. Like if you make a mistake and you admit it, that means like total loss of power, total decimation of character. Like your whole life is over. You might as well just die. I mean, there's people that really think that.
Yeah.
And and that creates a lot of fragility. Like a very fragile if you cannot be accountable. Like that's a sign that, like, if you're the person that never wants to say you made a mistake and you kind of want to have the upper hand all the time, I just encourage you to realize that you're really cutting yourself off from like a huge blessing
And
in
growth
the
opportunity.
lessons that you could learn from facing things and admitting you made a mistake and not even
Mhm.
beating yourself up over that, but just going, yeah, I made a mistake. I screwed up. Okay, what's next? What can I learn from it? How can I grow from it? How can I evolve from this? And I got to tell you, as a person who's made a ton of mistakes, some pretty big ones too, generally speaking, I feel really good after I confess my mistakes and go, yep, I made a lot of mistakes. And then, but not just say that, but actually change that and get aligned. And that's the third part. Like when you notice that you're misaligned and you're not being the person that you believe yourself to be, then you've got to change whatever it is that's causing the misalignment. And sometimes that means drastic things, like you might have to leave a relationship, you might have to quit a job, you might have to speak up about something that makes your knees shake. You might need to put yourself in a situation that doesn't feel personally safe, but you have got to align yourself to your inner core values at a soul level to be able to reach a state of joy and happiness. There's no other way to get there authentically except by being aligned and doing the work to bring yourself into that alignment when you realize you're out of alignment.
Yes. And the truth also, which is number four, which is um, being able to embody the values, the things that you've embodied will show up under stress. You will be able to speak your needs when they come up. You will have the opportunity to stand and be able to stand, if I may say, in a more aligned way. And when you stand up in a more aligned way, your energetics change, your words change, your inflection changes, your posture changes. And what happens? The energy output is different. And when it's embodied, that's you just standing up in your power. We've mentioned this before in the previous talks. Is what does it mean to stand up in your power? You begin to notice your posture changes, your body. When you do like body analysis, and you're looking at your eyes and your hands, and you feel that your values are completely aligned with your body, which is aligned with your mindset. And sure, anyone can speak love and comfort, but when you're under stress, this is when the common denominator shows up of your full mind, body, spirit alignment. And when it's
And
revealed, and when we're tired, challenged, triggered, or afraid, this is when the practice actually becomes real. And you fall short on it, that's okay. You do this without self betrayal or shame, right? You'd be able to go back.
that's
Let's
why
see what we missed.
it's important to do it for the little stuff. You practice on the little stuff. Like, you practice on the little family arguments, the tiny ones, not the big ones, just like, the little argument, the little something. You focus on the little things and then you correct those, you get aligned, you get practiced, and then you start working on the next bigger things. Like you don't
Mhm.
want to take on the biggest thing first time out, So you want to start small with morsels and then you work up to the meal. So
Yes.
you start with something that you can easily love yourself even though it's difficult. Like you could admit a little bit of mistake, just like a tiny one. And you work yourself up to like, oh, I really screwed up this. And there's a lot of people in that spot right now. Is why I feel like this conversation is needed, because I remember when I made so many really devastating choices to my family system, I felt really awful about myself for a long time. I really felt like I screwed up big time. Like I really hurt the people I loved. And I just really felt bad about that. And I really kind of raked myself over the coals for a long time, kind of looking at why did I make those choices? What could I have done differently? I wrote books about it, So,
Mhm.
I mean, I just feel like people could really be mean to themselves. And so my encouragement is be gentle, be gentle with yourself, be honest with yourself, number one. But you doesn't mean you have to take the whip out. You can give yourself a hug and say, boy, I really was deceived by this. And I don't want to be deceived again. So I'm going to practice discernment. I'm going to practice a new skill. I'm going to learn discernment. I'm going to work on my inner compass, my inner moral values, and learn how to align myself with my body, get in touch with my body. Maybe you're not in touch with your body. I mean, a lot of time I wasn't in touch with my body when I was doing a lot of the things I was doing that were out of alignment with my core values. I was not in touch with my body. I was living all up here and out. I was very dissociated. Plus, I was taking the not feeling pills, so I couldn't feel the harm that I was creating. And so I could just make more of it because I couldn't feel it anyway.
Hmm.
So when I finally got bad enough that I realized that I was, at the rock bottom and I had to make a change, I made a lot of changes. And I'll tell you, I've never regretted it. I
Hmm.
I was instantly better. As soon as I made those changes, I was like, wow, like this huge weight got lifted. All of a sudden I felt like life could happen again. And it wasn't like instant. It took me a while to work through all of my misalignments. It took me a while to come to terms with the choices I had made. It took
Mhm.
me a while to smooth things over, with the people in my family and to make apologies and to show up. It took a while and some of it's still happening. Okay. So it's like 10 years later, it's still happening. So
Yeah.
it takes some time. But what I want to say is the best part is that you can learn to love yourself again. It's like, I feel so much better when I'm actually honest with myself.
Hmm.
And I live according to my core values and I speak the truth from my perspective and I don't hold back, but I also don't try to harm, but I just say, I'm just in my own space saying what I need to say. And I live and make choices for myself. And gosh, it's so clean when you can do that. Clean energetics. It's so much better. We
Yes,
could
and that
all do
also
that.
yes, and this also connects dots with some of the studies that we both have done in Jungian philosophy, you from a feminine perspective and me from a masculine perspective. And that relates to how we connect with ourselves, that values must be felt, not enforced. And when a value is embodied, it doesn't need to be defended. It radiates through calm boundaries, steady speech, and clear action. And it's daily, like you just said, it's ordinary and it's unglamorous,
It's
but
just normal. Yeah.
its effect is real and it radiates. And it's kind of like when you talk about people on their weight loss journey, you see that how did you know that you're going to lose 64 pounds at the end of 8 weeks or 3 months, 90 days? How do you know that you're going to do that? Well, you didn't. You just knew that you started on a daily change, an ordinary change, and unglamorous. You may not have even talked about your latest change, but you just kept getting on the scale, kept doing the things, kept making the choices when it was an opportunity to binge eat or eat a lot of something that you know that your body doesn't like because you gain extra weight, you feel crappy. That's your giveaway that that's not right to eat like this. And then you've actually given voice to where that's coming from emotionally. And then you go and do the work inside of your body and make those changes. Small acts, repeated acts, they actually shape the soul. And
And it's
it
not a
embodies.
performance. I like the point that you brought that out. It's not a performance. And because
Mhm.
it's not a performance for somebody else outside of you,
Right.
like that's where things break down. It's like you're doing stuff for the wrong reason.
Mhm.
Like
Mhm.
if you're doing it to perform to get some kind of approval or validation or something out here, that's not going to last long. And then you're going to be duplicitous with yourself because you're going to not really feel like it, but you're going to do it because you think they want you to do it. And then you're not actually following your core values. What we're talking about is you're just paying attention to your core values and you're doing that. Like it
Right.
doesn't need applause. It doesn't need anybody else even knowing about it. You're just doing it because it feels good to you to
See,
be
that's a
truthful.
part of living not with a but with oneness embodied.
Yeah, it's powerful. And it's so, life is so much better that way. Like, I'm so grateful that I had the other experience so that I know what that feels like. And I'm also so grateful I got out of it and I didn't spend the rest of my life there, because like right now is the perfect moment to make the choice to change.
Hmm.
And if you don't do it right now, the next moment is right now. like, like right now is the perfect moment to make the change and to have courage that you can do it. And when you do, it's going to be just such a better thing for you. And you're just going to be so happy that you did. Like I said, I never looked back. I was so happy with my choice, still happy with it, never regretted it, never shed a tear over it. Just went, nope, that's it. Moving on and aligned myself with something more true for me. So what a great conversation. I know we went a little bit over, but we were having fun. And if you like this conversation, and we just invite you to join Grace Under Fire. And there's a link in the show notes down below. If you're watching this back on Soul Nectar Show, there's a link. You can come and join us. You'll get replays. And, the other invitation I want to make is if you want to go deeper, if you like this and you're like, I like this, I want to know more about how to, move this path, and I want to claim my personal power, and I want to be in alignment with myself and in my integrity, and I want to feel good, at myself and my body. If that resonates with you, then we invite you to something special that we've created. It's called the Ride the Fire Horse Experience. And this is a space that we've created to give people a 30-day experience of our community, of inner medicine community, because we have programs that are very lengthy and very in depth because they are actually total rewiring of your consciousness to release you from the false conditioning matrix and let you be sovereign as yourself, as your true self. And it takes a little while to move through all of those layers. And so those programs are in depth, they're deep, they're weekly, and they're like 6 months for the first level. Level 1 foundation of inner medicine training is 6 months. So we know that that's a lot for some people to say, oh, that's such a big commitment. It's like, we just met. I just listened to you for 30 minutes and you're inviting me to 6 months weekly. So yeah, so we are giving you an opportunity to try out, hey, like 30 days, inner medicine community, check it out for 30 days. And so that's what Ride the Fire Horse Experience is. And we give you tools, we give you meditations, we give you a schedule, practices, a community Telegram chat to give you an experience for 30 days of what it's like to be held in our community. And it's amazing. It's a beautiful space where we are healing with the support of our community and the combined energy that we all bring to it, and also rippling out positive change in the wider world. It ripples out into our family systems, into our communities, our neighborhoods. And, it feels really good to do this work. So it amplifies your personal dreams and purpose. So if you want to know more, also, again, the link is down below, or you can check out kerrihummingbird.com, KERRI hummingbird.com. And it's Ride the Fire Horse, because, well, I don't know, about Tuesday, that's what we're going to be doing for a whole year. So you might as well get on that horse and start riding it. Yeah. So anything you want to say about that offer, Akeem, or our community or anything like that?
Well, I'm just excited. If I were to add a word or an embodiment, it would probably be excitement, because this really is right. It's real. It's true. It's aligning. It's so many things. And at the same time, it's doing this without telling you that you have to do it this way and you have to feel it this way. And it's giving you the space. That's what I love so much about our program. So I'm just excited for more people to get into that with us. And you get to feel what it feels like to be in community and to be able to belong, to be able to connect, and to get a chance to see things in a way that you may not have. And
I'm just sitting here
even
laughing because Jessica, one of our students, Jessica's in here, and she's like, "Yee freaking haw, let's ride!" That's right, let's ride. Yes to inner medicine, life changing. It's
Yeah.
fantastic. And we love to do this together, and this is our gift to the world, and it's how we get fed. We get nourished by this. We it
Labor
fills
of
us up.
love.
It is. Sometimes it's a little heavy from time to time, but most of the
It's a
time we
little more
really
labor.
sometimes it's a little more labor. But if you want to birth something, it takes a little labor. So we're okay with that.
Inch
But
by inch is a cinch.
so yeah, inch by inch is a cinch. Take one step at a time. Absolutely, you guys. So thanks for joining us again, all of you who watched this back. We really appreciate you not only being with us in this conversation, but also caring enough to invest some time and to slow down and think about these things. Because as we slow down and we consider these, what I like to call soul conversations, because these are some conversations souls are interested in, as we slow down and have these soul conversations, even just having this and tuning into this frequency, we're creating a ripple of change.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have
Even
a
if you've
transmission happening.
even if some of the things that we've mentioned here today you've heard before, you may have heard in a different way. You may not have heard it put it at this angle, but at the very, very, very least, it's reaffirming what you want in your life and what you want to spend your time doing. So thank each of you for spending your time in this way to rebroadcast this message of love.
Beautiful. Love you guys so much. Thanks for joining us. And we'll see you next week. We have another great topic on Grace Under Fire. Sign up, get the replays, and we'll see you next week. Bye for now, everyone. Thanks for coming.
Bye.
If you found even one gold nugget in this episode of Soul Nectar Show, will you do us a favor? Will you subscribe, like, and share this episode? Maybe even write a comment and let us know what you thought about it. We really, really want to engage with you at a much deeper level. Let's be part of community together. Have a great week, everyone. Bye for now.
Soul Nectar Show. Awaken away to show. Take a sip from the drip of nectar, from the source of who you are.